Hey everyone, this is Andrew Ty and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to get the game Nukem 3D working on the M1 Apple Silicon Mac. So there aren't actually that many places where you can go ahead and buy Nukem 3D these days, and the Mac port is not working at the moment due to it being a 32-bit port. So therefore we're going to have to run the Windows game and we're going to use a source port to do so. So the first thing that we need is the Nukem 3D files. So one of the only places that you can actually go ahead and buy the game is from the Zoom website. So this Zoom is a digital distribution website. I'll leave a link to this website in the description, and you can actually go ahead and buy this game. You can't get it from Steam or GOG anymore. These are the only legitimate rights holders these days. Alternatively, you can also find many copies of Nukem 3D lying around on the internet. I'm going to leave a link to this archive.org website. I'm going to be using this one today in order to run this through a source port. Here we're going to scroll down. On the right hand side, we're going to download the ISO image, and we're going to let that run. It is 99 megabytes, so just let that download. The next thing we need to do is to choose a source port. So a source port is basically an open source engine that is recreating the game engine and letting it run on modern operating systems. And Raze is a relatively new one. There is another one called eDuke32, however this relies on OpenGL and is far slower than Raze, so I actually tested this out already, and eDuke32 won't actually hit 60 frames per second at 1080p even on the M1 Max chip. However, because Raze uses Vulkan and Vaulted VK, and it's kind of based on the GZ Doom source port, it actually runs much faster, and the frame rates are in the hundreds. So the next step here is to go to the releases section of the Raze GitHub page. I'll leave a link to this in the description. So here we're going to go to releases, and we have the Raze 1.31. So for some reason the macOS build has not been included here. It's only been published 18 hours ago. If I go to the 1.3.0, then we can actually find a macOS build here. So let's download the very latest Raze macOS build, which is the zip file here. If it gives you this error message, what you want to do is click on this button and press keep. So now that we have the Raze macOS build downloaded, we're going to double click and it's going to extract. And then we have the Raze application here. What we're going to do is move this into the applications folder. So the next thing we need to do is to extract the Nukem 3D files into the correct place. We're going to mount this ISO file, and then we're going to double click on the mounted file. And then what we want to do is to find the Nukem 3D folder. It's held in this dn3d-inst folder. I'm going to scroll down and we want this file here, duke3d.grp. I'm going to copy this to my desktop, and now we're going to move on to the next step. So the next thing I want to do is to put this duke3d.grp into the correct place. So the default folder for this is in the documents folder. So you need to navigate to your user folder and then to documents, and we need to put in a Raze folder. So if you don't have a folder here, we're going to click new folder and then type in the word Raze, R-A-Z-E, and then we're going to double click on Raze, and here we're going to make a Duke folder. So I'm going to press File, New Folder, and then type in the word Duke, and then I'm going to double click here, and then we're going to put our Duke 3D GRP into this folder. So once that's done, the Raze will be able to find the Nukem 3D files that we need, and then we can go into Applications, and we go to Raze, and then double click, and it's automatically going to load up Nukem 3D. So we're currently running using the OpenGL video mode. If I just mouse out of here, if you look at the top right hand corner of the screen, you can see we're getting about 500 FPS. Now we should just switch this to Vulkan, and I've changed the vertical sync to off and max FPS is unlimited. So here I've set the options to Vulkan, and it actually seems like it's running slightly slower under Vulkan. So we're still getting way over 350 FPS, but it is noticeably slower. So I'm going to switch back to OpenGL, and we're still back at 500 FPS. So I think OpenGL is the way to go, even though the OpenGL drivers on the Mac operating system are much slower and much older than, say, the Vulkan drivers. For some reason, they're working faster here. So one of the great things about Raze is that it is a universal application, which means that it's been built for the M1 Apple Silicon Mac. So it's going to take advantage of the hardware and software of this system. This also runs much faster than eDuke32, which is an Intel binary, and it's much older. It hasn't been updated for a couple of years, whereas Raze is much newer and it's based on GZ Doom, and it's had much more development, especially in the last year. So anyway, I hope you found this video useful. So I've got lots of other videos about source ports running on the M1 Apple Silicon Mac. If you'd like to check out my channel, they're all there. If you found this video useful, please like, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.